Next up, we have Tayla Soytas. Tayla is a third-year environment and economics student and a fifth-year vegan. She is very passionate about how global diets impact our environment. In her free time, she loves to cook and bake for friends and share her love for food. She would like to welcome all of you to this space to discuss diets, norms, impacts, and conversations surrounding them, and how we can frame these discussions to be more inclusive for all people. Welcome, Tayla.
Hi, everyone. I'm Tayla. Before I get started, it's okay. I got it. Thank you. How many of you have had a point in your life where you tried going vegetarian or vegan at some point? For those of you who can't see the crowd, there's a healthy helping of people that have tried it. And I'm very passionate about this subject because I see a lot of conversations going around within my friend groups and outside of my friend groups that might be not the most inclusive of all backgrounds and experiences, and just idealizes some sort of some way of eating as better than others. And I kind of want to discuss that today. So my tiny talk is on compassionate veganism. There are so many reasons why people say, yes, I want to go vegan for the animals. Ethically, I find this right, or simply simply as though it is simple, the environmental impacts that our diets are having and industrial animal agriculture has on the CO2 levels, methane and pollution levels globally. And there are facts and opinions that drive people to change diets, and there is some sort of devastation coming from the industrial animal agriculture that is researched and found. But I want to take us to more of a, not a global level, but this is a tiny talk, so I'm going to bring it to the more personal scale and talk about how the conversations we engage in with other people, whether we are vegan, vegetarian, or an omnivore, can impact how this subject is perceived by everyone. So a little bit about my journey. I come from Turkey, which is it's a Middle Eastern country, and the diet is very meat heavy. The culture is very much revolving around meat-based foods. And my 17-year-old self, as a lot of people do, I think, was exposed to a lot of these documentaries, and I found that I feel the best at, in terms of conscious and what I'm putting into my body to switch to veganism. Now looking back, I understand that I had so many things working for me that I was able to do this. A family that supported me and was able to provide the food, provide any food, and nonetheless, and also the food that I actually want to eat, and also the ability, the time to cook for myself, and other little things that helped me make this change that not a lot of people have access to. And I, as a 17-year-old, just being exposed to a lot of this content in terms of animal treatments and the environmental impact that diet has on our lives, I was pissed. Let's go back to that. I was that lady, but 17-year-old and maybe a little, more aggressive because teenagers, but at some point I realized that I was scaring people away from engaging in conversations with me because they did not want to bring up something that would offend me or something that would make me mad, and I did not want that at all. I don't know where my mind shift, the shift in my mindset happened, but I decided this is not gonna fly because people are apologizing for eating at the same table as me. when they're having a piece of meat and they feel ashamed, and I didn't want to have that impact on my friends. So I did a little bit of research and contemplation, and what I want to bring to the table is that not everyone has the same abilities in terms of accessing food, and also just knowledge about what a person should choose to properly nourish their bodies. So I wanted to shift the conversation with my friends from the food that we eat to what makes us choose the food that we eat. So there are components like family. If you're relying on your family to cook for you, you're not probably going to be straying too far away from what they are used to eating. Traditions, financial constraints that it just limit you to a certain food group, and it is convenient, and you just have to feed yourself, which is understandable. And also, one of the biggest epiphanies, I don't know that that is the right word, one of the turning points for me was having a conversation with one of my friends who had an eating disorder history, that I realized someone who has been through that restrictive mindset cannot and should not put any other restrictions to their diets, because that is simply dangerous. So all of these different backgrounds and considerations made me switch from that lady to the cheerleader vegan, as I want to call it, because guilt is never an effective conversation starter. I don't know, that might be impactful for some people to, oh no, I shouldn't be doing this, I will change my behavior right away. But that's probably not going to last. And I sort of, by changing the subject from how dare you eat that to why do you choose to eat that? And we just being mindful of everyone's different backgrounds and experiences and things that I might not know about them, just creating an open floor for that discussion, because I don't think being a vegan or a vegetarian means you're going to save the world. I don't think individual behavior change does have impacts, but the industrial scale change is what's going to eventually impact the actual actions toward against climate change. So I kind of strayed away from the aggressive and wanted to insert some compassion into these conversations. And also emphasize that there is an animal and plant component to what we eat, but we often forget the human component when, especially an angry 17-year-old is engaging in a conversation with someone being like, they kill all of the animals, and the treatment that you see in those very graphic documentaries that I talked about. I understand the frustration and the emotions behind this diet change for people who choose it, but also recognizing that the person that you're talking to is making their own choices when they're eating, and sometimes those choices are not as broad as yours maybe. So after I made that sort of change of making more of a panel style discussion instead of a debate, trying to win over the other person, the conversation shifted in a way that made me smile every time, because people started asking me questions about, oh, what is your favorite protein to go for? Like, do you have a recipe for this? I kind of want to try, I don't know, tempeh instead of tofu, but I'm not sure what to do with it. And other small questions like that made me go, okay. Being open also prompts curiosity. And I think where guilt fails to drive a person to explore more, curiosity takes over. And that is sort of what I'm trying to strive for with anyone I engage in these conversations with, because keeping that conversation out of a friend group is not healthy. It is like a topic that you're trying to dodge, like religion or politics. I don't want it to be an uncomfortable situation where someone's like, I'm eating meat and this is why. That's all right. And creating that safe space meant that a lot of my friends actually felt so much more comfortable around me. I'm not that aggressive 17-year-old anymore. And replacing aggression with compassion made me realize that curiosity and empowerment is the way to behavior change. Because after those questions that were asked, I also started getting like texts or just mentions from my friends that, oh, I tried that recipe that you shared and I kind of want to, try having that once a week maybe. And I think those little changes, even if the person is capable of them, will make a larger change collectively. And I just wanted to come here today and talk about this because where diets are concerned, we don't want the discussion to be exclusive and very intimidating to people who are not familiar or wanting to make a change. They might just want to listen, and listening back is the best space that we can create for these conversations too. Thank you for listening to me.